Story 1. Am I the a-hole for telling my family that if they wanted his ex removed from my wedding pictures, they had to pay? My brother goes through women like I go through socks. I gave him a +1 for my wedding 2 years ago. He brought his girlfriend of that time. When we were doing the family pictures, he wanted his girlfriend in the pictures. I said we could do some with her and some without. He got mad that I allowed my sister to have her fiancé in all the pictures, and my other brother was allowed to have his boyfriend of 5 years, but that I had the audacity to exclude his girlfriend of the week. My parents said that they didn't want any fighting and to just include her. They were paying for everything, so I said fine. She isn't in all our pictures, just the ones with our family and both families. Now, my brother is engaged, and we had the family over last weekend. His fiancée saw our wedding picture on the wall and got into a fight with my brother. He never told her that he had been in a serious relationship with her nemesis. He tried explaining that they only dated a very short while. She called BS because she was included in the family picture. She asked to see our wedding album. Sure enough, the girl was in multiple pictures with the family and the in-laws. My brother finally calmed her down, but has asked me to take down the picture or have his ex removed. I said that it was expensive, so he would have to pay for it. He tried complaining to our parents. They said that I was being childish. I reminded them that they were the ones who insisted I give in to him. I said that they were welcome to pay for the editing. They said I was a jerk and that they already paid for the pictures once. Yeah, and now you're paying a different way by having a person who's going to be a part of your family be resentful of someone else in wedding photos. I mean, how often are they going to be at this person's house? Are they going to see him are they going to see them all the time? And is she going to be constantly reminded of this? Are these people still enemies? And I just don't believe that Photoshop editing is going to be that expensive. It might be. It depends on how, I mean, this is probably before AI, right? You know, like AI's generative fill is now taking over everything. So maybe it's not going to be that expensive now. Who knows? Maybe the girl is willing to pay to have this person taken out. Maybe she might enjoy that. Story 2. My high school tried to punish me for filing a First Amendment lawsuit and use it to get into my dream college. In 2008, I was involved in a federal lawsuit where my rural Texas high school tried to suspend me for wearing a shirt supporting the Democratic hopeful John Edwards. Hindsight is 2020. They said it was a violation of the dress code, which was only ever selectively enforced. My parents had my back and agreed that it was, to quote my very white dad, redneck cracker nonsense. I'll never forget during the initial meeting when my principal called in a school board member. He said that if I got suspended, I would probably get kicked off the football team and that could hurt me getting into college. It didn't matter. I was a miserable player and a smart kid, so it wasn't going to be what got me into college. But the slimy fake concern as he tried to leverage my future against my speech is something I'll never forget. Anyways, as the case goes on, the squeeze gets tighter. First, they have the football coaches try to get me to drop it, having the football coaches talk about how my selfishness means that they can't wear Fellowship of Christian Athlete shirts anymore, trying to embarrass me in front of the team. And I'm a fat kid who openly plays Magic the Gathering in high school. Hit me with your best shot. I have no shame. Next, they host a meeting with all of the teachers, telling them I'm a problem and that they need to keep an eye on me in case I slip up. I found this out years after the fact when I bumped into my English teacher at a friend's wedding. Finally, they just start pulling in students from my classes to get them to say bad stuff about me. I was a class clown, so this turned into every single dirty joke, rude comment, or loud fart I made getting reported to school administration, which then leads to this awful little toady vice principal calling me and my parents in and reading them back in front of my mother. That one stung. My parents still knew it was hogwash, but who wants their locker room jokes aired in front of their mom? They used this as a pretext to expel me for 6 weeks, citing inappropriate, spicy conduct. They shoved me into the disciplinary alternative education program, and I am fracking steaming. The program is basically where they warehouse kids with emotional problems they can't handle. You just sit in a room in a refurbished insane asylum and can't do anything but read or use the computer for monitored educational purposes. You also get booted from extracurriculars while you're there. I know at this point they want me to make a scene so they can punish me further, so I do the exact opposite. I channel all my rage and new free time into my schoolwork, doing homework I would usually ignore because I knew I could ace the test. Now I'm doing both, and my GPA is climbing. I start looking into scholarships and find a bunch that are really interested in political activism, and guess who now knows a little more about that? I apply and rip my school a new butthole in every one. Then I work with my dad, and we find an attorney who will take our case pro bono, which means while the school bleeds, feels it doesn't cost us anything to keep it in court. I spent those weeks like a monk, motivated entirely by spite, doing everything I could to make their hogwash work for me. I got out, got back on all my teams, and ended up applying for a prestigious honors program at my dream school. Not only did I get in, but I got way more financial support than I thought I would. Eventually, we lost the case, but the school had to abolish the dress code anyway because they couldn't afford to get sued over it again. I don't like the idea that a school lost money, but man, they made the choice. They could have backed down whenever. Now, I've graduated law school, am taking the bar in 2 weeks, and already have a job investigating government corruption. I'm getting paid to be a pain in the butt I'm getting paid to be a pain in the butt of petty authority, and it's pretty sweet. I think Spite Monk should be a new class they should add to any role-playing game of some sort, and I still like that phrase. What was it up here? What does it say up here? That goes further up there. Redneck cracker nonsense. Very funny stuff. And yeah, it just pushed them. Every time he tried to punish him or put them down, it just pushed him further into his passion. And they created their own monster, and now they got to live with it.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 3. Entitled parent gets talentless girl into school band, gets mad when people don't applaud when she sings. A little background. My school has one of the best underage bands in the city. Not a small one, in spite of being a moderate-sized school. 1,000 kids. They perform at big places and draw in huge audiences. So anyway, there's this entitled parent who is a teacher, and her daughter goes to the school. Now, the daughter is a bad singer. There's no two ways about it. Hope that's the correct way to use the phrase. So anyway, one day the band's pianist, Kay, is fuming during the bus ride back. On being asked why, he begins to rant about how the entitled parent forced the music teacher to put the daughter in the band, etc. They had a show in the city's biggest mall the next week and have been practicing for months. Entitled Parent wants Entitled Daughter to sing for that show. Anyway, it's the day of the show. I'm watching from the audience. The first 7 songs bring in a huge audience and everybody enjoys the amazing music. Then it's Entitled Daughter's turn. The guitarist plays the opening notes of a very popular song during the time, and the crowd goes wild. Then Entitled Daughter sings. The enthusiasm drained away fast. There is silence as Entitled Daughter massacres an amazing song. Then Entitled Parent gets up and starts clapping loudly. Everyone is mortified. Some people start to awkwardly clap. The teacher tried to move to the next song. Entitled Mother yells out, "Wait, they haven't clapped for my angel's performance yet." The audience is dumbfounded. I see Kay facepalm. Then Entitled Daughter yells into the microphone, "Clap for me!" No one moves a muscle. Entitled Daughter runs off the stage and Entitled Parent takes a microphone and yells, "You can't appreciate talent," before chasing after Entitled Daughter. Concert continued. Entitled Daughter left the band. Entitled Parent is still in the school. That should have been recorded so that the person who organizes the band should be able to point at this and say, "This is why I just don't let people dictate to me who I let in the band." I was in a good music program in school, and that man was very fair about who to let into what projects. So, yeah, we did quite well. That should just be recorded and used as evidence, as receipts. Story 4. Today I fracked up by purchasing an expensive coffee machine and making a terrible discovery. I drink a lot of coffee. My morning consists of 2 milliliter mugs of coffee, and sometimes I have a third after dinner later in the day. Recently, I got too far into James Hoffman's videos and decided to upgrade my awful drip coffee machine to a proper precision brewer. And when I say precision, I mean that this thing comes with a water testing strip so you can calibrate the machine for the mineral content in your water supply. Serious nerd stuff. To justify the ludicrous amount of money I spent on what appears to be the Hadron Collider of coffee machines, I did some research on brewing ratios in order to maximize the allegedly life-changing potential of this equipment. Now, coffee science says the ideal water-to-beans ratio for this brew method is about 60 grams of grounds per liter of water. Out of interest, I decided to prepare my usual ratio from the old machine and see how close I was. It turns out, since I got this old machine just over a year ago, I've been brewing about 20 grams per liter, resulting in what I now realize is a pathetically weak brew. I prepared a proper 60 grams per liter brew with the new machine, and the resulting coffee was on another planet. The flavors were so developed, it was like I could taste the touch of the Colombian farmer who picked the beans. Ew. I drank my full morning dose of 2 milliliter mugs in just over an hour. And then I discovered an unexpected side effect. The year of drinking weak-old brew has conditioned my body for weak coffee. And I had just drunk over half a liter of coffee that was theoretically 3 times as strong as usual. It has now been an hour since I finished that first pot, and I can hear the passage of time. A fly flew past me in slow motion. I made an omelet for lunch, and I beat the egg so fast it turned into steam. My heart no longer beats, it vibrates. And there's something unholy brewing in my lower intestine, and I am fearing the wrath of God when it's released. Send help. I mean, you want the taste so bad, but you don't want the taste of a hand that picked your beans in your coffee, do you? I wasn't saying ooh to be racist or do the Colombian thing. No. About just having someone's hand in your mouth as you're brewing coffee, that's the taste that you want? No. No one's hand. Ew, no. But yeah, drinking that much coffee is not good for you. I mean, it just reminds me of Hammy from the movie Over the Hedge. Never seen that movie? It's great. Love it. Story 5. Neighbor trespassed and posted my custom carved wood, then someone stole it. Long story short, I live in New York. My boyfriend's hobby is to take reclaimed wood, custom cut it, and make tabletops or shelves out of them, selling some tables for $400 or more. I had 3 of these 7-foot-long oak wood sitting on the side of my house for a month, out to dry in the sun, on planks. Those pieces can be sold for $1,200 or more when finished. This lady that lives in the area assumed they were for the trash and publicized the wood online as next to a dumpster and going to a landfill. My recycling bin was next to this wood on the back end of my house. I came home to my wood missing, and I found her post online giving it away for free with my exact home address for all to see. Someone unknowingly thinking it was hers to give away snagged them. I contacted the guy and got it back. I then wrote her a message showing her a screenshot of the New York State Government Property Lines website of my property's border, which she clearly crossed over to take the photo of the wood on my property. I told her to never do that again and mind her own business. Her response was, "I'm quite too busy to read all this. Either way, it was a mistake. Good luck out there in this awful world. I'm sure it's sure a bear." After that passive-aggressive hogwash, I went to the police. I filed for trespassing. The cops said I could get her for possible larceny. I don't know. How would that work if she didn't take it herself? I'm just wondering, how far can I push this? I am now completely uncomfortable with doing future projects in my own yard, and the entire town I live in now knows my exact address attached to my name because of this lady. The cops said they would go to her home and ask her side of the story. I have pictures of her post, pictures of my property line, and screenshots of many people I don't know very well, asking me if her post was in fact the wood on my property that I had posted on my own Facebook that I was in search of, linking my exact name to the exact address. I work as a bartender in town where I have many strange men. I don't want to know where I live. She posted it to my town's Facebook page. Maybe if she was more kind, I would have let bygones be bygones, but now I'm thinking, the world sure can be a bear. I don't think retaliation would be a good thing. I think it would be best to just very non-aggressively confront her in person about this, telling her your concerns. Then, if she gets even more passive-aggressive about it, then push things a little bit further, going to the cops, and if their stories if her stories corroborate them being able to get her for larceny, maybe pursue that. I can understand the concerns. Definitely. But I hope that you can resolve this, definitely. Story 6. Parent says it's not our business what her son does on the community property. Happened just a couple of hours ago. This story is so fresh you can smell it. In our community garden, we get teams of kids from the local school come to help, and it's often the case that they turn up on a Saturday morning as well. They're almost entirely well-behaved, which is a good thing, as there's not a lot we can do about bad behavior beyond a stern voice. Although, one time a lad kicked one of our rabbits, so a girl brained him with a shovel. Rough, but effective justice. There's this one lad who came for the first time last week. I don't know him, but we made him very welcome. He only lasted half an hour before storming off in tears after his third telling off for spinning round and round holding a tool and letting it fly off at head height. This morning, his mom, I assume, came with him. I saw him point out my friend and me, but he didn't ask to join in, so after shouting hello, we let them be. After about 10 minutes, he started wandering, and my friend shouted to him, "Don't go round behind the greenhouse, mate. It's not safe around there." Well, his mom had obviously been waiting for this because she went 0 to 100 in 2 seconds, flat, demanding to know, do we own this garden? And if not, what business is it of ours where her son goes? We explained we just want to be safe and want him to be safe. And she replied that she's quite capable of taking care of that herself, thank you. Fine, on you go. Off he went, exploring behind the greenhouse, which is not safe because it's the compost heap, which is very unstable, and the muck around, which is a giant pile of horse manure we get delivered every autumn. By the spring, the inside is all nice and rotted down, and the outside is hard, crusty, and less strong than you think. After a minute, there was a crunch, a squeal, and I think we did very well to drag him out without saying, "I told you so," or break into guffaws. He was absolutely black from chest high downwards, and although well-rotted manure doesn't smell really bad, it is very thick and sticky and slimy. His mom grabbed him without a word, and they headed for the gate. He started bawling as soon as the surprise wore off. My friend said, "Would you like some bin bags to spread out in your car?" And to her credit, she did say thanks when we handed them over. I wonder if we'll see them again next week. Probably not. I think the kid is probably going to get banned from working in the garden again, but the mom is going to blame the people that work in the garden. Oh, they're just irresponsible there. Yeah, and the irony will be lost to no one, except the mother.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.